Kathy Strain here with Broadway World. I was recently in Philadelphia and I had the opportunity to see the 25th anniversary production of Les Misérables. Andrew Varela plays the role of Javert in that touring group. I had the opportunity to sit down with Andrew and he shared with me his experiences of being on the road, his family life, and his thoughts on the new Les Misérables movie.
My name is Andrew Varela and I play Javert in the 25th anniversary national tour of Les Misérables.
Okay. And where did you get your start?
My first equity job, I was actually here in Philadelphia. Yeah, I did a play about Frida Kahlo over at, I think it was Plays and Players over on Rittenhouse Square, which is very close to where we are now, and that was in the very early '90s. So and luckily I've been going ever since.
And what was your first Broadway show?
My first Broadway show was King David. It was a concert written by Alan Menken and Tim Rice, and it was they were writing it for the 3,000th anniversary of the city of Jerusalem, and they did it there in Jerusalem, and then they brought it here and they opened the New Amsterdam Theater with it just before Lion King went in there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my Broadway debut, was that, and then after that was Les Mis. And then Les Mis.
Okay, and how long did you do Les Mis on Broadway?
4 years. I did it from '98 to 2000 till it closed in 2003. Basically off and on for that time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, so what are some of the things that you like to do now that you're on the road and you're getting this experience? What are some of the things that you like to do while you're out on the road?
I like to see what's happening in each city. I like exploring cities. I like food. I like checking out the food scene in each city, eating what the people eat, eating where the locals eat. I do all the presidential libraries. I do historical sites. I do a ton of museums. I have my wife traveling with me, so we make it all a vacation. We make it all as much fun as we can. Because if you don't, then tour is just a litany of hotel rooms and Panera, or something like that. So. We drive the tour, so we have a lot of fun doing that. We make sure that we see as much as we can.
So what are some of the most unusual foods you've had on the road?
Gosh, that's a good one. I've eaten, bone marrow. We've sort of checked that out, it's actually pretty good. It's a little heavy, we do a lot of Thai food. And you get to. I always go in and check out the curries, the Thai places that we hit. But we've been to hot dog places, and I generally if you have venison or duck on the menu, I'm ordering it. That's just how I roll. And we like mixology places, very nice mixed drinks. But generally, if it's crazy on your menu, we'll try it out. I can't. But beyond it, but venison and duck are the good ones. My go-tos.
I saw somewhere where you had scrapple.
Oh yeah, I had scrapple here, just across the street. I had it, and a woman helped me out, and it's good rule of thumb: don't Google scrapple just before you eat it, because then they describe what's in it, and it's probably not a good idea. I mean, if you're eating a sausage, you have to just expect that it's not a steak because it was good. It's sausage because it was left over, and scrapple is stuff that didn't even go into the sausage. Mm-hmm. So I had it. It was fine. It was fine. I probably won't have it again.
Did you put ketchup on it?
I did. I put ketchup, but then I also tried it with maple syrup on the other side, because some woman said sweet or savory, doesn't matter. I think the ketchup was a better fit, but you can put maple syrup on dog food, and it's still pretty good.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then what are some of the challenges of being on the road with your wife? And I know sometimes you bring your son with you too. What are some of the challenges with both coming with you?
Well, like I said before, that it can be a litany of hotel rooms and Paneras. You have to have a certain amount of discipline that you might not have. I mean, it can get very monotonous, waking up and then just finding out what you're going to do until you go to the show. So you have to have a discipline and enthusiasm for each city, and realize that you don't get to tour the country normally. Here we are. We get to see everything every week. We're in a different place. place, or every 2 weeks we're in a different place. And so you have to get up, get out. You have to plan where you're going to go and go do it, and then still have enough left over to do your job, to do your show at night. So when Susan and Oscar are here, we generally spend the day with Oscar, taking him to museums, children's museums, parks, wherever we can, just looking at the city, and then we come home and we settle down, and then I get ready to go to work. So there's a discipline and an enthusiasm that you have to have, or else it's it can be as destructive as any life as you can imagine.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So what are some of the best memories that you have of being on the road?
Being one of my favorite things is because I've been on the road now for 5 years. My wife and I, the two of us, have been on the road if you add it all up, for like 15 years. I mean, it's if you add up her tours and my tours, and I think the most fun is that you live your life, and then in the future, down the road, your screensaver goes on the computer, and then you see all these wonderful things that you've done. You see, my son, we had him on the road when he was a toddler, and then on the screensaver on the computer will come up, and there he is at the Washington Monument, and there he is at the St. Louis Arch, and there he is at in the Fountain in Portland, and we're reminded that it's a remarkable life, and that it's full of opportunities when you take them, and thankfully, it's all been really good. It's all been pretty good. I mean, we can't complain, because we've managed to accept it and make it good for us.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's see. Yeah, you spent a lot of holidays on the road too, then.
Yeah.
So is that tough, or is that
it's tough, but you just have the same sense of humor about it. One year, Susan taped a Christmas tree to the wall in my hotel room. And that was the Christmas tree. This past Christmas we were in D.C. together, so we actually had a Christmas tree and presents and everything. So again, you make it what you want it to be, and thankfully Susan is she has boundless enthusiasm for getting everything ready. And as soon as we come into every hotel room, she sets up the room and she takes care of everything. And so we have a home wherever we are, an actual home wherever we are. So I'm that's otherwise I'm just miserable in my room, just watching Netflix all the time. That's all I do. So
you two met in the business.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
It was 1993, November of 1993. We met. I was joining the Evita tour. We actually joined the Evita tour together the same day. And so we were sitting next to each other watching the show for a week or two, as we were learning the show. And we just became great friends, and then it just progresses from there.
And when were you married?
1998.
And I also saw somewhere that there was a episode of A Baby Story.
Yeah, we did a baby story.
Was born?
Yeah, we did a baby story. Because when you're pregnant and you start watching those shows, she sent at the end of the show, it says, if you have if you live in the New York area and you're within 6 weeks of your due date, give us a holler. So Susan emailed them, and within 12 hours later, they were calling us, asking us to be on the show, because we were both on Broadway at the time. We were both doing Les Mis on Broadway. So it was a great experience. We're still friends with the producer on that, and it led to a lot of great things. We were some years later. We were in San Diego, and somebody recognized us in line at Whole Foods from that baby story. So it's pretty funny there too. It's a great thing. It's a great little love letter to that whole final week, because now it's music and it's produced, and it's really sweet. And we every now and then we'll have baby story watching parties, and all the women in the cast will come by and start crying, and that's some good stuff.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Les Mis.
Yeah.
You said you were on Broadway with it for a while, and you played Jean Valjean there. And you said how many years were you on there?
4 years.
4 years.
I was an understudy. I was Courfeyrac, Brujon, and then I went on a bunch of times while I was there.
And then you're now playing Javert. You've been playing Javert from the very beginning of this tour.
2 years.
So, which one do you think is better for you? Which one do you enjoy more?
Well, There is no harder role for a man in music theater than Jean Valjean, bar none. That goes without saying. It's up there with like Evita, with Ava, and I don't know. I mean, because there really isn't nothing with the difficulty of the role and the duration of the role. It's a triathlon every night. When I did it, I was in my mid-30s, and I remember distinctly every time I bowed after doing that role to have this amazing lightness of myself, because I had worked so hard, and then they just applaud you. I mean, imagine running the triathlon and having 2,000 people applaud just you when you're done. So I always remember to enjoy that feeling. But it is a lot of work. Javert is 1/3 the work. So and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy playing the heavy. I enjoy when I was a kid, I liked Darth Vader over Luke Skywalker. That was my thing. So being able to play this character with the scowls and the effect that he has on everybody around him has been a lot of fun, and it's very rewarding, and it's a lot less work. The guy that we have playing Valjean here, his name is Peter Lockyer, and he was Marius on Broadway when I was doing the show there too. So I get to see him working really hard every day, and it's really sort of it's great to be a part of the show now at these different stages of my life, and in these different roles, because my experience with it is pretty comprehensive. It's pretty complete. I was a student. I was Valjean. Now I'm Javert. But being able to be Javert is a lot of fun, and I will never complain about it, because it's just too much fun to have any problems with it.
And how much longer is the tour going to be?
It is going to go till August of 2013. Where then it'll close and it'll reopen with a Canadian cast in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you'll be done in August.
Yes.
You know what your future looks like right now, or are you just not trying to think too much about
I'm not. I've been on the road now for 5 years straight. So I'll tell you what my future is. My future is I want to go. I have a house in Wisconsin, and I want to put on my boots and I want to walk around my forest, my woods, and chop down trees and hang birdhouses and barbecue. That's all I want to do.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good,
It's a good
future
one, right?
now.
Yeah.
My nephew is going to college to work on Broadway. That's what his dream is. So he has a couple of questions that he specifically wanted me to ask you
Okay.
about playing Javert and how you prepare for it. So one of the questions that he had for you is, how do you keep your voice strong night after night? What do you do to keep it healthy?
Pavarotti years ago, I remember reading that he said, you must always remember your first voice lesson, because that's the one where you don't do anything but breathe, or maybe just sing one note, and it's all about the breath, making sure if your breath is connected and healthy, you won't hurt yourself when you're singing. I have years of opera training, and that has really helped me maintain my voice and the health of my voice. That is of primary importance. If you can't duplicate your performance, then you're not doing the right performance. If you can't duplicate your performance 8 times a week, then you're not doing the right performance. Working on Javert has been great, because Lawrence and James they let me recreate this character, and what I knew from the outset, what I wanted to do was I wanted to make sure that the audience could see his side of the story, and that he's not just the bad guy. And so I went through the text, and I read it, and from that I found a man who was just trying to do his job, a man who was tasked by society. He grew up in jail, and then he decided he was going to come out of it. He used his sense of right and wrong to pull himself up out of it, and that carried him through into this world of law enforcement, where he just followed the law. That was it. That's all he needed to do. And if he didn't do it, then society crumbled. So he had to do it. He had to do what was right rather than what was popular. And so here he is going through the show, doing what he thinks is right the whole time. Meanwhile, he doesn't realize it, but he's the bad guy. So at the end of his journey in the show, when he realizes he's the bad guy, it's sort of like the end of The Sixth Sense, where you realize that Bruce Willis had been dead the whole time. He is realizing that he was on the wrong side of the story the whole time, and he never knew it. So that was important for me to do, and it's been so gratifying for the audiences to pick up on that, and the reviewers to pick up on that this has been a reimagining of this iconic character.
And also, when you're playing Javert, I had the opportunity to go backstage a few times, and they told me that there was some kind of a claw or something that hooks on. I don't know if you want to share the secret or not.
I don't know if I
with
can.
People.
It's a similar thing that they use in Wicked for defying gravity. It's a similar device that they use in it. But yeah, it's a harness and a little machine that holds me up and things like that.
Have there ever been times when it didn't connect properly? And
yeah, well, I've been pretty lucky on that. If I get myself in the right spot, it's not a problem. There have been, it hasn't happened in a long time, but there have been times where something will go wonky, and I'll just be left hanging in the air, virtually defenseless against the world. And the stage manager will have to come out and grab me and lift me off. But that doesn't happen very often anymore.
it makes it more interesting, huh?
Well, yeah, totally.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your Twitter addiction.
Twitter is fascinating because it's everybody talking to everybody. I'm a big fan of democracy. I'm a big fan of everything that brings people together, and I think Twitter allows you to meet. It allows you to communicate with people that you wouldn't ordinarily have any opportunity to come into contact with. So when you're going forward and you lock onto somebody. I've met so many different people on Twitter, and so many colleagues. So many people that in different fields on Twitter. I'm constantly amazed at how if you buy into Twitter and you maintain a voice on it, how it expands your world it just immensely. Right now I'm right at about 2,000 followers, and they're all over. There's a girl in Moscow. There's a new mom in South Africa. Europe, England. I mean, Asia. Lots of Asia. It's a remarkable way of connecting with people, with like-minded people, and it's pretty much if I'm sitting down with my phone in my hand, I am reading Twitter. I'm just reading my Twitter feed and just seeing what's going on in the world. It's my greatest source of news at this point, because if it happens in the world, it happened on Twitter first. So I mean I think it's a great thing, and I think it's really going to be a part of humanity. I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger as it gives us a voice, and it gives us a bulletin board, and it gives us a place to say what we have to say, and I think that's what human evolution is going towards.
So how do you compare that to Facebook?
Facebook takes too much work. It's a little, to my mind. I'm never on Facebook anymore. I mean, I maintain my fan page, but as far as like posting pictures and things like that, what I like about Twitter is sort of the randomness of it, in that you can lock on to authors that you wouldn't be friends of yours on Facebook, and you can listen to what they have to say. When I was on Facebook, I was just doing status updates. That was all I ever did. Didn't post pictures, didn't do anything else. But and so Twitter is just the distillation of that. That's all it is, status updates. So that's why I moved over to that.
Do you think that Facebook's going to go away?
I think yeah, I do. I really do. I think that we've seen it, just MySpace, Facebook, and I think Facebook is what I read. MySpace is a ghost town. Facebook is a vacation village, and Twitter is a busy financial district. That's the way I've heard it described.
Who are some of your musical influences?
My musical influences, like Luciano Pavarotti was always a good one. I just loved the fluidity, just the beauty of his voice. I also when I was growing up, I listened to the Camelot movie album a lot. I don't know whose voice that was that played Lancelot, but I loved that voice. I don't know if it was Franco Neri. He played the movie. He played the role of Lancelot in the movie, but I don't know if he was doing the singing. But obviously Michael Crawford, Colm Wilkinson was. I mean, those are the albums that I listened to when I was sort of developing my own sense of self. Lots of opera. But I was impressed by people. I was impressed by skill a lot, by people who had a distinct voice and a healthy voice. I never liked anybody that didn't have a sound that seemed crafted. You know, people that can get up there and just belt out a tune. But it sounded as if they were hurting themselves a little bit. That might be exciting, but I never appreciated that because I knew that they weren't going to be doing it for very long. You know, so Pavarotti I always liked.
What about more contemporary artists today, and maybe, you know, even like the rock or any of that?
Well, I listen to a lot of Sting. I've been listening. You know, my wife and I we like Sting for a good long while. There we listened to quite a bit. As far as vocalists go, I like Chris Cornell. He's Audio Slave and Soundgarden. He has a very strong rock voice, and he's been singing for years and years. Contemporary, Josh Groban's got a lovely voice. He's got a lovely voice. I like singers. Michael Bublé. I like singers who sing. They're not gimmicks, but they have a technique, and it's pretty. You know, those are the ones that I like. I can listen to those. Spencer Day. He's a kid. I don't know anything about him, but there's one song that he has that I picked up on, and I really enjoyed it. I listened to it a bunch.
Now, did you get to see the new Les Mis movie?
Yes, I saw the new movie.
What is your opinion?
I thought it was great. I think people are really going to love it. It's been gratifying to see the whole new audience come to the movie and just be so affected by the material. I think it's a tribute to the material that no matter what medium it's in, that people are still going to respond to it in the way that I've grown accustomed to seeing it. So here we have people that, you know, well, let's go see the movie. They see the movie and they're like, wow, that's great. Let me go see it on stage, and they see it on stage. I mean, I think the story is has enough heft to it that people will want to dig in deeper and see it. And luckily, there's a tour happening right now that they can go and see.
Good point.
Yeah.
So what did you think of Russell Crowe in the role of Javert?
I thought he did a great job. I always knew that he was gonna be a great actor in it, and I thought because he comes from a rock and roll background, he brought that voice to it. There's no reason why it can't sound like that. You know, there's no reason why it can't. You can't have a rock and roll guy doing it. Who knows? After me, they might start putting in a rock voice in the thing. You know, it might happen.
You never know.
Never know.
A lot of people were not very thrilled with Russell Crowe, and I thought he did a good job too.
Yeah, I thought he did a fine job. Fine job. You know, it's if you wanted to hear something different, then they could have hired somebody. They could have put somebody different in there. But Russell Crowe's one of those actors that I have a collection of actors. It's like Russell Crowe, Jeff Bridges, Gary Oldman. They're actors that you just want to see what they're going to do with it. What are they going to do with it? We'll give him anything. I just want to see what that guy is going to do with it. And Russell Crowe's one of those guys. So I think he did a perfectly admirable job with the role.
Definitely, I agree. Okay, so if you had not gone into show business, what do you think you would have done?
For a long time, I wanted to be. There's a litany of things. I wanted to be an astronaut. But there's too much math in that. Then I wanted to go into the Navy for a while there. I didn't end up doing that. Politics. I always find politics very interesting. You know what? Just things that require communication. I think interest me. Things that require an idea to be broken down and communicated to a group of people. I find fascinating, and I understand the value of that in the world. So it might have been teaching. I love teaching. I love kids. Uh, there's it took me a lot. Every time I quit being an actor, I got another job. So as it happens. So I really haven't been able to explore anything outside of this. But it's yeah, there've been other things that I've died to try.
And speaking of politics, I know that you're considered a minority
Mm-hmm.
in your political views.
Mm-hmm.
Has that gotten you into trouble?
No, actually, it hasn't.
Everybody
It actually
appreciates
hasn't because, and I think that this is actually it dovetails into what I just said that I'm not while I am a conservative, uh, my interest is in conveying ideas in a way that people understand, and for my approach, conservatism uh, is always well served when it's articulated well. So I'm always that guy that people say, I wish more Republicans talked like you, and because that's generally what I do. I'm the happy warrior. I don't I'm not into fighting anybody, but I am interested in the exchange of ideas, and my ideas are of the conservative stripe. So I have plenty of friends. I have plenty of friends that will come up to me and they'll ask me a question and then I'll give them what my answer is, and they're a little bit they may not agree with me, but they respectfully disagree, which is okay with me.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Did it make it for interesting during the elections? I know that Peter Lockyer was more of a liberal.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's fine. We had a good time. I remember I was I was just climbed into the barricade, and I was just starting my saying, listen, my friends, I've done as I said. I will tell what I can. And one of the actors down there went like, one of the actors said, where did Ohio go? And I was just like, my brain froze because I was trying to remember and I was like, dude, I'm doing a show. So that was election night.
Oh,
so,
no.
Yeah.
I was at that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I happened to be at that
that's
show
funny.
election night. That's
Then
funny.
you saw that. Then you saw me go up.
Didn't notice it. So what advice do you have for anybody who's thinking about getting into the business?
You gotta love it. Stick with it. Have a very positive mindset. Because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of people trying to get into it, there's a lot of people moving in, and everybody has a different level of ability and a different level of social ability, and so dive in, do everything you can, do all the jobs you can, meet all the people that you can, get all the training that you can, develop as a person, so that when you show up at a job, you are in the plus column from day one. Solve problems, be fun to work with, do your job, don't be a problem, be someone that people want to work with, because ultimately life is just a series of connections that you make, and the theater business is exceedingly small, and the good things you do will get telegraphed out there, and the bad things you do will everybody will know. But don't be crazy, and know your worth, and keep a healthy sense about you. Be somebody that people want to work with, and it can be amazing. It can be great. I'm living proof.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's all the specific questions that I do have for you. Don't want to keep you.
No, that's right.
But do you have anything that you want to ask, or anything that you want the audience to know about you that we haven't covered?
My wife and I are going to be the keynote speakers at the New Jersey Autism conference in Atlantic City in October this year.
Cool.
My son has autism, and that has been a challenge, but we have managed to carve out a life with that, and it appears that we're going to be trying to raise autism awareness, in our travels and with whatever profile we have as we go on.
Excellent. That's really good.
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough information out there for people to understand.
It's hard because people that are affected by it, they pull in, and people need to know. Oscar, my son, he'll have behaviors, and because he doesn't have a Down syndrome or any sort of obvious disability, it can be difficult for people to. They just think he's a brat, and they hassle you, and when your son is doing something, and it's just sort of raising on there are disabilities that are not obvious, so everybody needs to just chill out. The kid having a meltdown in the diner, just leave his mom alone. If you can help, but just remember that you don't know what's going on. That's also been the great thing, is seeing all the friends that I had. Just being, because, after high school and college, whatever, everybody just scatters all over the country. And then it's been great just seeing all the people that I did high school plays with, just in LA and here in Philadelphia and whatever. And they're lawyers and doctors. I'm a big fan of the military. And there is a degree of military history that they offer out of a school in Vermont that I'm just sort of, well, I just happen to have $30,000 lying. When I have $30,000 lying around, maybe I'll go back and get it. But it's just I would love to. I think
your wife has a thing on her website I saw last night, and it's becoming my mantra. She said, "Believe in your dreams, then make them come true."
My wife said that.
She has that on her website.
There's an energy in your passion, and if we follow our passion and let that manifest itself in our work and the work that we do, then it sets itself. It floats to the top. It moves on. I wish I had pursued my career in my early days as much as I do now, because there's a real energy to when you're on your path, when you're on your right path, and it feels great. It's every day. It's like you never work another day in your life. Do what you love. You never work another day in your life, and it really feels that way now. And it took me a while to get there, but it feels like I have it now.
Yeah. And that's,
so
I think, what the difference is, and live your dream, don't give it up.
Oh, yeah. Because what else you gonna do? Everybody has to do their own thing, and I think, if you go, you fall back, and there's you never have to stay falling back. You never have to stay back there. Life is not linear. So there's ups, there's downs, but as long as the only thing you cannot do is stop. That's what I realized. The only wrong answer is to have no answers, to make no choice. So just keep going. That's why on the road. Today's different because we both have the cold, but we get out. We have a rule. We have to be out by 11. We exercise in the morning. We have to be out of the room by 11, doing something. We can come back, but we have to be out by 11. And it's those sort of choices you make that make your life better. They build on each other on a daily basis, and the next thing you know, you've done something.
So what's the worst job you've ever had when you started out in?
I had a guy. I was working at he and the theater shall remain nameless. And I had day one of rehearsal, and we were on stage, and we were doing something, and I was 21, something like that. And we started a scene. We did a scene, and we did it for like 5 minutes. I'm the youngest guy in the cast of like 8. And the director came on stage, and he went, "Andrew, what I'm getting from you is prepared bullshit." And I was just like, "Oh no, I'm the worst. I'll never make it. I'll never do it." And that was the beginning of just horrible. It was just terrible. I was just treated so poorly, and it was because I didn't know who I was. I was letting somebody else tell me who I was, and from the get-go, I should have told. You always tell people who you are, or they will tell you who they need you to be. And that was when I realized that lesson. So that was and I've worked in worse theaters, but that was the place where I felt the first. And that's not worth it. That is not worth it.
Definitely not. Did you
Yeah.
do your share of waiting tables and things like that?
I didn't wait tables. No, I was a data entry guy. I was computers. I did a little bit of construction. But no, I waited tables for 10 days, and I was a lousy waiter. I may have been better, but I waited. Again, this is the thing. I start working, and then I get a job. You know, so then I start working, and then I get a job. You know, so it was one of those. It was one of those things where I guess it's a positive, but it was a. You know, I've luckily worked fairly consistently, which is, I think, you know, as an actor, I've realized that that's really the only measure of a good career is consistency of work. You know, you can work here and you can work here, and you know, at different levels all the time, but it's the fact that you're working is really the most important thing, and that you're happy, you're doing something that interests you.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I feel like I'm doing something that interests me in this character in Javert, so I'm pretty happy.
How many performances have you done now?
We have done over 875 performances. Subtract from that my vacations and whatnot. So I've probably done about 850 performances of Javert. That's a lot. I'm almost there. I've almost got it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been fun. I have no problems with it. It's a good time.
Good.